course, that time of year when everybody's number one New Year's resolution is get fit, get healthy, lose weight. This is going to be the year. And Dr. Wayne Wescott is here from the Exercise Science Program at Quincy College to help us do that. Again, hey, Wayne.
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year.
Honored to be here. You too, Joe.
This is great. This is going to be an annual appearance about this time of year.
I know.
For you,
I'm honored.
Which I think
Thank
is
you.
wonderful, actually. I really do.
Thank you very much.
It brings it down home. It brings it local. You know,
right.
Folks, I think,
yes.
say, all right, what do I do? You know, where do I begin if I really do want to kind of change my lifestyle and start to live more healthy? You've been doing it, what, over 40 years now?
At least.
At least.
Yes.
You started when you were 10, right?
Right.
How long at Quincy College for you now? Have you been there?
Let's see. We actually started the program in 2006, so it'll be about 14 years since we've been running the exercise science program.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And how's it been going?
It's been going very well.
Yeah.
We have people of all ages. We have high school graduates. We have middle-aged. Our oldest graduating who's 70.
Wow.
And we've actually had people take courses in their 80s. So all ages can benefit from learning a little more about exercise science, and many people go into personal training, which is really important, especially for the older adult population.
Right, yeah, and it's important to receive that certification if you really want to get into that line of work,
yes,
right?
we actually do teach somewhat towards the national certification. Okay. I had the privilege of writing chapters for several of the national certification textbooks. So they're going to pass the strength training component. We know that. Okay. But we cover all the the other components as well, yes.
Is it true? Do you see an influx of people about this time of year saying, you know, help me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are some of the common mistakes you think that they're making that you try and change?
Well, actually, you get the credit for this, Joe, because in our discussion, you know, you've said this, how you approached your own fitness, is instead of focusing on the negative, focus on the positive. So if you're eating healthy foods, you probably won't be eating unhealthy foods. Right. And if you're doing appropriate exercise protocols, you probably won't be doing things that would be too much too soon, causing injury or discouragement. And you say, well, what do I really need to do? Tell me that, and then I'll let the other things fall into place. That's the approach that we actually take.
And it's very individual, is it not, for each person? I mean, your goals are going to be different depending on where you're starting.
We do always want to meet the objectives of the people we're training, and they may be very different, as you said. Some it's, you know, just getting in shape because their doctor told them they had to. Others, it's because they really want to, you know, change their lifestyle and be active and do outdoorsy things on days that aren't quite as cold as today, at least.
Yeah, that's right.
and others, it is, you know what, I need to get in shape because I've got this coming up or that going on, or a wedding or something of that nature. But whatever it is, once people do start to make the move towards fitness, it tends to be very reinforcing, and they continue on and see even greater perspectives than what their original objectives may have been.
Yeah, and you know, I'm guessing start small, right? Don't go for the gusto all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Seeing small improvements periodically is, we think, the best motivation to continue.
Last time you were here, we talked about kind of your groundbreaking weight loss study that you had just concluded that really emphasized the need for protein in diets.
And you remembered that?
Oh, absolutely,
my
sure.
Goodness, thank you. Yes, since that time, we have done one more. Actually, we did 3 studies on losing fat.
Okay.
I didn't say losing weight. They did lose weight, but losing fat, because in all those studies, and these are 3 of very few studies that have shown that, they also added muscle, which reverses the loss of muscle that occurs at the rate of about 5 to 10 pounds per decade during the aging process. Wow. When people go on a normal diet, about 1/3 or even more of the weight loss is muscle. Yeah. When the muscle goes down, so does your resting metabolic rate, which is why about 95% of all successful weight loss participants regain that weight back, because the metabolism is so slow when they go back to normal eating. What used to be the right number of calories is now too many. And they just say, what am I doing wrong? Well, they don't realize they're losing muscle. So we include strength training along with a very modest, sensible diet and endurance exercise. But with the strength training, we've been able to show in all of our studies concurrent fat loss and muscle gain.
Okay.
And we're the only study that has shown that over 9 months of post-diet, when you go back to normal eating, not only no increase in body weight, but continuing to add muscle and lose fat, which balances out, which is really good. But this year, in those previous studies, we used substitute meals. We used shakes for meal substitutes, which worked really well. This year, we did the same study, but with just normal eating, see if we could do it without doing substitute shakes. And the results were just as good in terms of the body composition changes, you know, adding muscle, losing fat. But the compliance rate wasn't as good, I guess, because people that get used to the shakes, it's pretty easy. I just take a shake. I don't have to worry about all these things. So maybe they should start with shakes and then progress on to, to normal eating.
Actually. Well, and I think it's also indicative of how psychology plays into, you know, habits. You know, it's more than just food and exercise, right? It's mindset. Yeah.
I know. And in our fast-paced society, I guess doing a shake, as long as it's a good shake, makes sense. I do shakes for breakfast. To be honest with you, every breakfast is a shake now, because we had such good results with it that I said I can do this, and it's pretty simple. Yeah.
You'd also mentioned last time about the hope to get funding for a study on diabetes.
Yes. Oh, thank you for reminding me of that.
Sure.
We've been trying for the past year to get funding for diabetes, say pre-diabetes, even,
Yes.
because in our previous studies we did look at blood sugar, HbA1c, and we saw remarkable improvements. But that was just kind of a side factor. We weren't looking at that particularly. We didn't recruit people that were pre-diabetic or diabetic. We were looking at general population. So we're still trying to get funding. It hasn't happened yet. We're hoping that it will soon. We'd love to do that study.
Okay, very good. Are the programs at Quincy College open to the public, the exercise
Yes,
programs?
we have a fitness center. It's highly structured, very instructional, very highly supervised. We always have faculty on duty to work with them. That's their job. Their only job is to work with people that are in there one-on-one as much as they can. There's no charge for the personal training. It's kind of a family environment, and it's open to anyone who can come. They're welcome. It's a very well-equipped, fine facility.
Okay, it's interesting that I think people don't realize that.
Yes, even people in the building, President's Place, don't know we're there, and a lot of our students and faculty don't know we're there.
Right.
We're in the basement, which is nice. It's very quiet and very private.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't even realize that we have a fitness center.
The latest and greatest fad, I guess you will, or craze, are these ads that we're inundated with featuring these interactive, workout regimes now with the specialized equipment, where you can, assign a subscription, I guess, and have somebody virtually exercise with you.
Right. Yes.
Is it important to have somebody help you? I mean, is that something that you think should be part of your routine?
In the old days, we used to recommend books. Read the book. We wrote a lot of books, as you know, and then it was videos. Watch the video, and we did a lot of videos. And now it's you got someone there right in front of you in the mirror looking at you as you're exercising and modeling it. And I presume that works very well. I've always been big on reinforcement, sincere reinforcement, and feedback as to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure that happens to the degree that it would with an actual well-trained instructor watching you and saying, maybe you should be doing this or that. I think you're overtraining a little bit, or can I check with you on what you've been eating? Are you sleeping? Those type of things, and really being able to answer those personal questions, which it all ties in together. The new emphasis is wellness, health and wellness, and that's important. I'm very specialized in fitness, and even more so in the strength training. That's where we do all of our research studies. But in the general overview, all those things play an important role, as you know, and as I know. I just don't teach that. I teach the strength training.
Sure. You mentioned sleep. How important is that to your overall wellness, if you will?
To me personally, Joe, it is the most important factor. I have not done research on that. I'm not a sleep researcher, but to me, if I get my allotted amount of sleep, I have a good workout, and I feel well, and I can think better. If I don't, and I need a lot. Unlike you, I need about 9 hours a night to function. I always have, and I think I probably always will. If I don't get that for a couple nights, boy, my strength training goes down, my endurance exercise is deficient, and my thinking is definitely not where it should be. So people need everybody's different, but once you have that routine, once you get out for more than a couple of days, everybody has to miss it once in a while. It affects you negatively, no question about it.
And you can't kind of make up for it over the weekends, can you?
I just read a big research study on that, and to some degree, a little bit, but not entirely.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
It's better to be in a regular pattern, I suppose.
Yes, and again, if you miss a day here and there, everybody does that. You travel and whatnot, and you're off.
What have you,
But if you start doing a regular change, it becomes an irregular result.
How do you know when you got a good workout? I mean, how do you say, oh, I'm good, I'm done, I can move on and come back a second time?
Part of it is simply how you feel, while you're working out. That's subjective, but because we're in exercise science, we use a lot of objective means to do that. So in strength training, we use an 8 to 12 rule. When you can get to 12 repetitions with a given weight, 2 workouts in a row, you know that it's now safe and pretty much necessary to increase the resistance a little bit to continue to improve and to gain more muscle, more bone and strength, etc. In the endurance realm, when you're doing aerobic activity, we still use heart rate a lot. We think that's a perfect internal computer, and we like to stay within about 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate, which is your age subtracted from 220. That's your estimated maximum. So if you're 20 years of age, your maximum would be about 20. You want to be somewhere between 140 and 160. Once you can do that workout and you're dropping under 140, you say, well, it's time for me to increase either the duration, I can go longer, or the intensity. If you're on a bike, I can go from 100 watts to 125 watts, something of that nature. There's also the talk test. If you like to work out with a partner, if you're doing jogging or walking, you can talk in short sentences, that's fine. If you can recite the Gettysburg Address, you need to go faster. But if you can't talk, you only say, Joe, good, yeah, doing fine. If you can't talk, you're working harder than you really need to for health and fitness.
Okay, so all right, so not a lot of technology involved in that, right?
Right. So you got, then the one that's in between is they've got the perceived exertion scale, a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being that's as hard as I can go. 1 being this is really easy, like we're just sitting here. So you need to be generally around a 7. A 7 if you're an older adult, probably 7 is fine. 6, 7 if you're you're a young, fit person, a 7 to 8 would be fine, but a 7 would be about right in the middle.
Okay.
And that corresponds sort of to your 70 to 80% heart rate as well.
All right, okay. Curious about obesity among young people, Wayne, and whether or not you think more physical activity should be implemented in the daily school routine.
I certainly do. I've in the past, I've been asked by the schools to represent that to the government because
right?
we've done so much research on that. In past years, yes, through the Massachusetts Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, which is the physical educators. It is so important, and it's more important now than ever because students spend so much time with screens. If it's not the computer, it's the phone or the television or whatever it might be.
Even in school now,
yes,
not just out of school.
And you know, there's some intellectual benefits of that, but there's some physiological problems with that. They're not moving, and so the childhood obesity rate continues to increase, which is very sad because children who are obese tend to become adults who are obese. There's a very strong correlation.
Really? Are there any studies or scientific evidence to indicate that it's genetic, that obesity is genetic?
Certainly is.
Right?
Yes. If both of your parents are overweight or obese, you have approximately an 80% chance.
Wow.
You have to really work hard at it.
Okay.
If one parent, it's about a 40% chance of becoming obese. So there's what you can't change is your genetics, your inherited characteristics. What you can change is I'm going to be more active. I'm going to watch what I eat. I'm going to get appropriate sleep because if you get less sleep, that also contributes to weight gain.
Sure.
So they all tie in together.
Yeah, yeah, and that's empowering, isn't it? When you say to yourself, "Oh, I do have some control over my destiny."
Right.
Some at least.
Yes, my mother was always heavy. She had a lot of.
Really?
And I inherited from her probably more fat cells than I'd like to admit.
Yeah.
But my dad was lean, so I had a 40% chance of being obese.
Okay.
But I, like you, I decided, hey, I don't want to go that route. I want to become active and eat really healthy and get appropriate sleep.
Yeah.
And so I was able to avoid that.
Yeah.
But I still have to, I have to remind myself.
Be mindful of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You started at a very young age. Do you mind if I ask how old are you, Wayne?
Oh my goodness, I'm in my 8th decade, Joe. Yeah.
You're 17.
Pretty soon be 71.
Going to be?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Like I said, you started when you were 10.
Thank you. Yeah, I probably started I really started when I was about 14 or 15.
Okay, so that's unusual, don't you think? I mean, teens today probably aren't thinking health and fitness.
There's such an emphasis on health and fitness in our world, but in their world, I'm not so sure that they see it yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they can learn about it certainly at the college. On
Yes.
website
We have a
is,
wonderful exercise science program that they can take one course or a one-year certificate program or a 2-year associate's degree. We have articulation with other colleges. They move right on.
Right.
It's a really good school.
Yeah.
People don't realize that Quincy College offers such, not just in my field, but such actually nationally known programs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time as always, Wayne.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you. So, a happy and healthy New Year to you.
You too, Joe.
Thank you. Just enough time to take a look at the forecast for you for the rest of the day today.